Now, usually, I try to make videos that inspire you to travel or chase your dreams, and I'd much rather you watch those. But I do realize that a lot of times chasing your dreams end up becoming a business. So I thought I'd lend a helping hand, or two.
The equity multiplier. This is absolutely one of those ratios that I am excited to talk about, only because it's one of the most adorable ratios that you're ever going to be able to find. So really quickly, equity multiplier, or magnifier as I like to try and remember it. Equity multiplier, so multiplying your equity, think of that. And then we're going to walk through why you have to think of it that way, so you'll understand why I see it as equity magnifier. So total assets over total equity. What I want you to think of before we actually look into the math of it, the numbers of it, think of the equity multiplier as a magic box. And this magic box says, well, let's put it in the middle. This magic box says every time you put $1 into the box and you close the box, when you open the box, you're able to take out stuff that's worth more than the $1 you put in. So very simple. Think of a box, equity multiplier, total assets over total equity. You have a box, you put $1 into that box, close the box, open the box, there will be stuff worth more than the $1 that you put in. That's what the equity multiplier is basically telling you. Now, let's see why. Let's go back to we had an example, I believe it was our debt to assets ratio. Yeah, I think that was what it was. And we said that there was an irresponsible example where your liabilities were 90,000 and your assets, everything that you have, or we have, I'm not going to, single you out by yourself here. Everything that we had was worth $100,000. Now let's look at what the equity multiplier will tell us about that same exact scenario. Right, this is why I love ratios. You can literally pick numbers and ratios that tell you whatever you want to see. So same example, let's actually write it all out. So from that other example, we said that the assets were worth $100,000. The liabilities in total, long-term, current, $90,000. I wish I had a really cool accent. I feel like that would make these videos more memorable. Our equity, obviously, as a result, is only $10,000. Do I need to actually put the dollar sign? Yeah, should. Otherwise, it's not dollars. Okay, so total assets over total equity. All I care about for the equity multiplier or equity magnifier, our magic box, is just these two. So we'll say total assets, $100,000 worth of stuff. So remember, this example, we said we were being irresponsible. We were borrowing to what I said, and you can argue your point, and we could come together like adults and make a decision for the company. But for right now, since I have the microphone and the camera, let's just say we're being irresponsible. Let's see what the equity multiplier says. So because of the formula that has been decided by some brilliant minds in society, 100,000 divided by our equity of 10,000. I cannot wait to cancel these out, cancel these zeros. We'll leave it in ratio form so we can tell ourselves a story. 10 to 1. Or really 10 times, right? But let's just go to 10 to 1. So for every dollar that we own, that we use to acquire stuff, we get for every dollar that we use as a company, that we put in ourselves, so we're using our retained earnings, money that we actually own, we get back $10 worth of stuff that we have, that we get to keep, that we get to use as resources. So think about that. What the equity multiplier is telling you, it's telling you that for every dollar you put into the company, you're able to have $10 worth of stuff that you get to have, you get to possess. How incredible is that? That's basically saying if we find $1,000 tomorrow, right? We find $1,000 tomorrow, and we decide to put it into the company, we'll get $10,000 worth of stuff. We have $10,000 tomorrow. Let's say net income, whatever we earn it. If we decide to use it to acquire more anything for our company, things that we can have, let's say more property, we'll have $100,000 worth of property. Say, obviously you get the point. All right. How do you feel about that? The equity multiplier flatters you, especially when you're doing poorly. Well, when I shouldn't say doing poorly. I have to be careful with that. When you're highly leveraged, it flatters you. It tells you that if you put in, essentially this is how it'll work, because the reason why this is happening is because we're borrowing money. So nothing in life is free. There's no such thing as a free sandwich or free lunch, as they say. So you have to think, if it is true that we put in $1,000 of our own money and we get back $10,000 worth of stuff, that means we're taking $9,000 worth of loans. That's exactly what's happening. So as much as the equity multiplier may want to flatter you and tell you, hey, take $10 out of your pocket right now, put the $10 in the magic box, and from this example, I'll give you back $100 worth of stuff. It's all well and good, but I mean, there's still so many other issues that we have to talk about as business owners. What does that really mean? I mean, maybe our banks all of a sudden realize we've been borrowing so much money that if we borrow a penny more, they're going to start asking for a lot of principal back. They're going to start making decisions differently when it comes to us borrowing money because we're way too leveraged. The next $10,000 we borrow, well, guess what? That current liability may creep up a lot sooner than we would anticipate from prior business dealings because they don't trust us anymore. So as much as the equity multiplier may want to flatter us, we have to be smart to understand, all right, what's the underlying story behind it? What are the other underpinnings that are keeping this mirage, I guess, in front of us? It's holding up this false story in our faces. For every $1 of our own money that we put into the company, we're able to get $10 worth of stuff. It may be too good to be true. Okay, so equity multiplier, I actually love talking about the equity multiplier because I get to use my little box analogy, but it's very simple. It's your total assets over total equity, and it tells you for every dollar that you put in of your own money from the company, how much of stuff do you have? All right, but again, it really, really relies on financial leverage, or your proper understanding of the equity multiplier relies on a strong understanding of financial leverage.
Thank you so much for watching. Turning a dream into a reality usually ends up becoming your business. That is why we have the Helping Hands videos. Subscribe, like, and feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video. Until then, be your best and never stop learning.